willing it to be springtime here in the CHEK Vancouver studios.
Oh, it was only 16, 18 hours ago. Show this picture, Derek. I was in balmy weather in Hawaii. It was about it was not minus, it was plus 26. It was windy though. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at the forecast and people I said, send me your photos. Is it really snowing in Metro Vancouver? And Linda Birdie from ProMed Eye Health sent me a little video from Langley and I was like, I'm staying in Hawaii. No, I'm not, I'm here, but I'm a little
Remember at the end of last week's show when I said, can we tell people what's happening with you? She's rubbing it in now, guys, now that it's snowing here. No, I'm glad you got away and had a good time. Coquihalla closed today, snowing so hard. If you're traveling anywhere on a mountain highway right now, after all of the lack of snow we've seen, boy, oh boy, you got to be careful out there. Holy smokes.
And we're in for some kind of sketchy weather for about the next week or so.
Welcome to springtime.
What happened to that groundhog? What did they say? Come on.
They say, and I'm wearing my cherry blossom pink today
very nice.
in the hopes of, because the cherry blossoms are just starting. Saw some magnolia blossoms. The hope of spring is there, Linda.
We don't want it to then be a frost and go.
It's supposed to be like this. Oh. This is forsythia season, and this is what Vancouver's like in the springtime. Yeah, but
I have a very short memory.
I know. Well, I got you covered here, sister. Lots going on today, including, of course, our viewing party, brought to you by the BC Restaurant and Food Services Association. And today, we are going to be sharing those who sent us viewing party photos from last week. It's easy to do.
Viewing party at chekmedia.ca. Tell us who you are, where you live. Make sure you show us your face or something fun, just to make the pictures more interesting.
Spice it up, like look at this tuna stack. Give me that Cactus Club Cafe. Excuse me. $100 gift card up for grab today. We'll share those with you. And we have a very big show coming up, as we always do on a Thursday.
We do. And one of the big stories that affects everyone is this new online harm bill that the Trudeau government has brought in. And it's to regulate all of the bad behavior on the internet, the sexploitation, the bullying, the racism, the homophobia,
harassment.
There's going to be all these new rules. You could potentially even get life in prison.
Yeah.
Compensation for victims. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and an easier path than going through a very complex legal system. So we have former Crown Prosecutor Sandy Garrisino coming on the show to just parse out what exactly is happening in Bill C-63, this Online Harms Act. What will it mean?
Now, I'm very interested in what's going on in BC politics because they are always chippy. When I moved here from Alberta, I thought, wow, the BC political scene is boom, boom, boom. And we have an election coming up, and it's not for 8 months, but oh man, they're acting like it's already on. Yeah. And so we're going to talk to Rob Shaw because the bottom line is, who's going to come in second? The BC United wanted to take over. They wanted to lead the province, and then suddenly the darn BC Conservatives, emerged and are sort of challenging them for second place. It's all very interesting, and it affects all of us. So, political nerds, stay tuned.
Yeah, and even if you think, you know what, I don't know what Linda just said, but I'd like to be more up to speed on what's happening in my province, this will be a segment for you. Gather around the TV, hit record on your PVR, because even if you aren't nerding out on it, you can learn a lot from Rob Shaw. He is an excellent, excellent political analyst and our colleague at CHEK. We also have a conversation that's specific to Vancouver and Metro Vancouver with outlying areas, because with so many huge events coming to town, do you know where you'd stay if you were coming for Taylor Swift?
Do you have a very, very big and deep wallet?
I know, right?
Because they're saying even the budget hotels, so not the glamio ones, but the kind of mid-range ones, they're charging, upwards, pushing towards 750 or whatever.
10 times.
What if people can't afford that to travel here for Taylor Swift or soccer or whatever and then pay these giant hotel bills? So what's the solution and how many rooms are we short and when are we going to get them? That's all coming up with Roy Schwinn, who is the CEO of Destination Vancouver.
This is going to be cool. All right, it is time for our... And Linda, we start with some really sad news here.
We have lost one of the great Canadian Prime Ministers. Brian Mulroney has passed away at the age of 84. I believe he had his family with him.
He did, surrounded by family. He passed away peacefully today, and we send our deepest condolences to all.
We've talked a lot about the bank rate, and we've all been watching it, what's going to happen with your mortgage and all the rest of it. Well, they are saying now that the forecast is that the bank rate might be slashed in half by the end of next year. So stay tuned. I know there's a lot of people hanging on by fingernails, wondering how they're going to pay the bills and have nothing in savings. We're getting there finally.
Let's hope.
Not soon enough, maybe. But
let's hope things balance. I mean, at least there's a little hope on the horizon here, right? We've got a story also about a firefighter, a GoFundMe campaign, in fact, that, oh, wait, this one first. We got two GoFundMes in our hot headlines. This one's about Canadians that are struggling with inflation to pay their mortgages, literally going, I need a GoFundMe because I can't afford groceries.
A 300% increase in Canadians who are setting up GoFundMes because they just can't deal with the cost of living or housing expenses. And then that sort of leads into this GoFundMe that's just been set up for a Vancouver firefighter who was on vacation with his wife, who happens to be the anthem singer for the Whitecaps, when he got into some trouble with a flesh-eating disease and had his leg amputated. Yikes, they're raising thousands of dollars for this young family. And it just speaks to the need, you know, the sort of public town square where people come together and try to help each other survive.
I love the clip from Christopher saying, you know, giving up my leg is nothing compared to giving up my life with my beautiful family. So if you can help, please do. And we'll now jump off to Chris's day job as a firefighter because there are fire concerns. In BC, it's leap year. It's leap day. Happy extra day.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And we're already talking about, well, wildfires in Texas right now, raging out of control. And here we are worried about what's happening, profoundly worried indeed.
Well, in fact, the Premier is saying he's setting aside billions, something like $10 billion, because we're expecting another historic wildfire season. We've got historic drought levels. The reservoirs are not where they should be. So we're in trouble. And by the way, next week, we're going to have a guy on the show who's the author of the book Fire Season, John Valiant, who is really getting international attention for his thoughts about wildfires and the new normal.
Speaking of international attention, you've heard this discussed far and wide. The anti-vaxxers are really causing problems with what was almost all but eradicated when it comes to measles.
Right.
Protecting your kid. Childhood vaccinations. Please vaccinate your kids. Vaccinations are safe and effective.
Unfortunately, COVID really messed with people's minds, started questioning vaccinations are not safe, and all the rest of it got very political. And then that has, you know, expanded to the measles end of things. The good news is an Angus Reid poll found that some 75% of Canadians think that getting your kids vaccinated for measles is incredibly important.
It is.
We just need the other 25% to get on board.
Herd immunity is so important with this, and the people who can't get vaccinated could get it. And measles is deadly, right?
Yeah.
This next headline, I gotta say, when it comes to something that was in the budget, having a round of IVF covered is so big. As a mother of one miracle baby after going through years of fertility treatment and having IVF for tens of thousands of dollars, I love the fact that IVF is covered in the budget.
They're saying, though, that it's not really enough. They think there's going to be tons of people coming forward saying they want to tap that. So maybe they'll open the purse strings a little bit more.
Because this was being discussed back, Brady's 16. This was being discussed when I was going through it. So it's a step at least in the right direction. I know, right?
We do have good news about pharmacare, though.
We do, absolutely. Let's go there, because it's not just birth control, but also if
diabetes.
Diabetes, like my cousin Mike, who has sent me notes saying, you wouldn't believe how much I spend every month just to get the medication and the syringes that I need.
This is not means tested either. Apparently it's for all of us. Details are being rolled out today. I haven't seen them all yet. We might talk about that again in the future.
We will.
But this was a big deal for the federal NDP's support of the Liberals to kind of prop them up.
Yeah, for sure.
Trump?
What are we
talking about? Trump? Makes me bananas. So the stupid Supreme Court, after dilly-dallying around, no, we won't take this case now, back when they were asked in December. This is a January 6th
one. January 6th. Oh, the other one?
Jack Smith, the prosecutor, wanted them to leapfrog the appeals court and have the Supreme Court decide quickly so that this case could actually happen, that Trump could go to trial before the election so Americans could know who they were voting for. But no, the Supreme Court slow-walked it. I think it's political. I think
we're going to definitely need Reggie Cecchini on this one. We're going to need Reggie on this one. Also want to talk about Sweden is now officially joining NATO.
Yay!
Yay! It's approved. Woohoo! Woo! Let's do that.
That's good news. The bad news is that Ukraine is now entering the war there with Russia, is now entering its third year, which is insane as they're sitting around waiting for those silly Americans in the House to decide whether they're going to come up with funding.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers have lost their lives. This is a disaster, and we were all gripped by it at the beginning of that war.
We're all wearing our Slava Ukraine. And we're
worried about other things, moving on to some
News
the
cycle.
Israel Hamas, you know.
I mean, there's just so much.
Yeah.
Let's go frivolous just to cap things off for our hot headlines, because Wendy's with surge pricing. Are you hearing about this?
Well, the idea was, and I was reading this in Hawaii, that they were going to test next year these, electronic boards so that if there was a lot of demand, a lot of customers in the store, they could bing, and the burger price goes up. Wendy's is backpedaling like mad now, saying, "Oh, we would never do that. We put up the electronic boards so we could actually bring the prices down."
No.
So
damage done, Wendy's. I'm out.
Sketchy.
I'm out.
Sketchy.
No.
Bad PR.
Stay where you are. Lots to come later in the show. As mentioned, our political analyst Rob Shaw is going to be with you to set the table, if you will, about what's coming up on that.
And hate speech crackdown. This is huge. The Trudeau government's going after racist and homophobic speech online while trying to keep kids safe. Is it easier said than done? Former prosecutor Sandy Garacino joins us next.
All right, let's kick into the viewing party. Brought to you by the BCRFA. Up for grabs a Cactus Club gift certificate. Up first, Bill and Sarah in James Bay.
Hello to Ed. Not sure where he's from, but I see some feet in the foreground.
Grace in Delta. Hi, Grace. Thanks for watching.
And Jackie in North Vancouver also watching. Love it that you're sending in the photos.
Tell us where you're watching from. Send a photo of you watching right now. Viewing party at chekmedia.ca.